Alright, I am back for the second phase in this OptiPlex project, and in the last video I showed you how to remove the hard drive cage to fit a bigger GPU, but in this video I'm going to show you the easiest, least janky method for us to install a front fan in here. And why we'd want to do that is obvious, to get more airflow. But you might be wondering, is that actually necessary? So whether or not this is necessary really depends on a few factors. One of those being, are you using this for something other than gaming, like video editing? That can greatly affect the temperatures. But also it can vary depending on what games you're playing. But since we're primarily turning this into a gaming PC, the biggest factor is obviously going to be your GPU. Now, I've gotten a lot of messages from people asking me what GPU they should put in their OptiPlex, and let me know. I'm going to have a card pop out here, but you can also go to my social media pages to vote, and let me know, is that a video that you want to see, like a comprehensive breakdown of what GPUs I think are ideal to put in these OptiPlexes. But anyway, back to the task at hand. I feel like if you've already gone as far as to remove the hard drive cage like we did in the last video, doing this it's a piece of cake, to be honest with you. In fact, I would go as far to say that it's much easier than removing the hard drive cage was. Besides, adding a front fan isn't going to hurt anything regardless. Now, with that being said, let's talk about what tools you're going to need to do this. For tools, we're going to be using our drill again. But this time around, your electric screwdriver isn't going to cut it. These electric screwdrivers just really don't have enough torque to do what we're going to be asking them to do. However, if all you have is a corded drill, it's going to be perfect for this one because, unlike last time, we want to make holes where there weren't supposed to be holes. But I still feel like this is the ideal solution, a cordless drill with a high-low setting and adjustable torque, and you'll see why later. The next thing that we're going to need is obviously some kind of drill bit, and in this case we're using a stepper bit. This is a 1 1/8 stepper bit, and this one is designed for cutting metal, which is great if you're planning on doing a lot of these, or if you can see yourself using this for other projects. But if this is a one-off for you, you can totally get by getting one of these cheaper stepper bits. Just keep in mind that it's not going to be as easy or quick as using the more expensive bit. You might also need something like these angle tip pliers that I'm going to use, and I'll show you why in a second. But the last thing that I recommend is once again some gloves, because we're cutting stuff and you don't want to get cut. But anyway, let's go ahead and take this up to the garage because I'm going to be making a bigger mess than I want to make in my office. So let's go ahead and take this up there and we'll get started. Alright, so I've moved up to the garage, and as you can see, I have a couple of woodworking horses here. And the reason that I'm using these is because, well, A, I have a pair, and B, they just make it a smidge easier to do. But it's just as well you can do this on the floor, and that's how I assume most of you are going to be doing this, because I certainly wouldn't expect you to have a pair of these, let alone go out and buy a pair. So the first thing that I want to do before I get started is remove the power button. And the reason for that is because even though I have these set up in a way where I should be able to avoid this, there's the potential of slamming this down on one of these and just completely destroying the power button. And so it's just easier for me to remove it than to have to worry about the potential of destroying it and then having to replace it. So to do that, I'm going to use my angled pliers here. And you could actually just use a small flathead screwdriver too. I mean, you just need to put some pressure on this latch at the top and then rock it out of the hole. And then on the inside, there's these 2 points that you just have to lift the cable out. And then there's one at the front. And then once you do that, you can just pull the cable through the front of the case and you're done. So set it aside and we'll put it back in when we build later. Alright, so now I have the case face down and I have it clamped to one of the horses just to give me some added stability, and plus it lets me keep both hands on the drill, which is part of what makes this method easier. But if you're working on the floor, you're just going to want to set it on its side with the back facing you. Grab the case with one hand and work the drill with your other. But you can also get someone to help you so that they can hold the case, that way you can keep both hands on the drill. Now, before we start cutting crap out of here, we need to talk about what it is that we're removing. Starting with this little tab here, as well as this piece of stamped metal that has a raised edge. Now, the tab itself shouldn't really interfere with the fan blades, but it can easily be bent in a way that it would cause a serious problem, so it's best to just remove it. Now this stamped piece of metal will definitely interfere with the outer edges of the fan blades, so we want to get rid of it as well. But the two most obvious things that are keeping us from installing a fan in here are these two indents that are left over from the hard drive cage. Now let me grab my drill, and I have this thing set to low, and it's on the highest torque, and we've got our 1 1/8 stepper bit here. Go ahead and put it on, but before I start, just a word of caution. You want to take this slow, and that's why I cautioned with the corded drill. You just want to take it slow, because if you go too fast, you're definitely going to burn up your bit, and then it's going to be pretty much ineffective. So let's go ahead and use this and remove the first hole. All right, so that's the first one taken care of, and I'm gonna let the metal cool down for a second and take this time to tell you the other reason why I think you should take it slow. Now, if you were paying attention during that, you'll have noticed that the drill was trying to get out of my hands. And that's one reason why I like to have both hands on it. But also, that's why I think you should take it slow, is because if you're going really fast, it's gonna heat up this metal, which is already soft as it is. And if this thing grabs at a high speed, it's gonna really wanna try to tear it out of your hands, and you're not gonna be able to stop it. And that's gonna really tweak that metal and bend it in a way that you're probably never gonna get it back into shape. So you just wanna take it nice and slow, and you'll end up with a nice, flat, clean result. But anyway, it should be cool enough. Let's go ahead and bust this other one out. All right, so that's the two biggest ones gone, and now we can just use the stepper bit to remove this stamp piece of metal too. So as you saw there, we just want to flatten that raised lip out. And now the last thing to do is remove this tab by just grabbing it, and you can just bend it. Like I said, this metal's super soft, and it'll just pop right off. All right, so that's all we really need to remove to install a front fan in this thing. However, I like to take it a step further and kind of do some optional stuff to clean up the inside of this case. So let's talk about what tools you need to do that. All right, so like I said, this is entirely optional, but I do this just to clean things up a little bit more. And the first tool that you're gonna need is a rotary tool with some cutoff discs. And this is the reason why I would say that we are now moving from easy difficulty into the intermediate difficulty level. You'll also need some pliers, and I'm just using these angled ones from earlier. You'll also need a flat-faced metal file, and you'll need something like this air compressor with a high-pressure nozzle. Data vac works as well. You're gonna need something to blow out all of the metal dust that we're gonna create with this. And all of that is the reason that in addition to gloves for safety, you're going to absolutely need a dust mask, because you don't want to breathe any of this stuff in. In addition, you're going to need eye protection because, well, you're flinging out metal, and these discs are very brittle and can break off real easy. I've had a number of them hit me in the face. I was glad I was wearing eye protection. But you'll also need some ear protection because this is obviously going to be really loud. So I'm going to move down to the floor here and show you what else I'm going to cut out. All right, so I've moved down to the floor, and the reason I'm working down here is because just more stability, and I think this is a little easier to do on the floor. But as for what I'm going to remove are these two tabs, one here and then just one under it here. And the reason I remove these is because I just think it looks a lot cleaner with them gone. But I mean, if you're thinking of something you want to use these for in your project, I mean, obviously leave them, but I remove them, just think it looks a little bit cleaner. But Before we remove these, we need to get rid of this latch here because it's a little too close to where we're going to be cutting. And to do that, all we have to do is grab our angle-tipped pliers here and grab this spring and just lift it out of the hole that's retaining it. And then all you need to do is pop up this plastic piece here that's holding it in, and you can move the latch completely out of the 5 1/4 bays. So now with the latch out of the way, we can go ahead and start removing this metal with our rotary tool. However, before I get started, I'm going to tell you the process at which I do this because you're not going to be able to hear a freaking thing once I get started. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the rotary tool to just scribe a line along this bent piece right here. You can actually kind of see it, it's kind of raised. And I just use that as a guide for where I want to scribe a line. And I say scribe because you don't want to just get all aggressive and dive right in trying to cut right through this in one fell swoop. Otherwise, you're just going to burn through these discs in like seconds flat. So you just want to go back and forth until you make it through the metal, or you've removed enough material that you can actually just grab this tab and just bend it until it pops off. Now on the bottom one, you're going to want to remove this at right where the bend is where I do it. And the reason I don't just go right at the edge of the 5 1/4 bays here is because then you'll have this piece hanging off, and then you'll just have another thing to remove it. I just feel it's easier to just do it right here. But anyways, enough talking. Let's go ahead and cut this stuff out. I'll put on my safety gear and then we'll get started. Alright, so we've removed these two tabs and now we can just toss them in the bin. And now we're left with some kind of rough edges, and that's why we need our metal file. We're just going to use the flat side here to grind this down and make it more smooth so you don't cut yourself trying to build in this thing. But you're not going to be able to hear a thing that I say, so just watch what I'm doing. But I'm just trying to round those edges, like going from different angles just to try to smooth that out. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then we'll move on to the next step. Alright, so I've got this back down in the workroom, and the last step that I like to take is just to wipe down the inside, and that's because even though I used an air compressor to blow this out, that dust that was left behind was pretty fine, and I just want to make sure that I get it off of every surface in here. And I mean, call me pedantic if you want, but it's just an added cheap layer of insurance that only takes a couple of seconds to do, so why not? Alright, so now to talk about the whole purpose of this video, and that's mounting a front fan in here. And I like to stick to 140 millimeters because they just kind of fit right in there perfectly, and the mounting holes also line up really well with the slots in the front of the front panel here. But and then all you have to do really is use the screws that come with pretty much any fan these days to mount it. But I tried a 120 millimeter fan, and I couldn't get the mounting holes to line up just right without, you know, tilting the fan and just making it look like crap. So I honestly don't suggest a 120mm fan, but also airflow versus static pressure. I suggest sticking to airflow because I've used some static pressure optimized fans. Ironically, Corsair ML I'm using as an example, and they're kind of noisy. It just makes this turbulence noise with all these holes in the front panel that just doesn't sound very good. And really, you're not going to get any better performance anyway. So I just suggest sticking with airflow optimized fans, and I'll elaborate on that in the build video. And speaking of which, the build video is coming. Whether or not it's the next video depends on what you voted on in the poll. If you guys want to see that GPU video, that will be the next video, and then I'll do the build and we'll get all these parts back in and see how it performs and what kind of value we can get out of one of these things if it compares to a console while being able to beat it on performance. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching this video. I hope you found it useful. If you did, consider tossing it a like and maybe subscribe to see future videos. And if you have any comments or questions, just leave them down below. And as always, any products or tools used in this video will be in the description. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you with the next video.